Good afternoon, everybody, and a very warm welcome to QuickBooks Labs, the only QuickBooks podcast and therefore the best QuickBooks podcast in the UK. We're allowed to have that title. So, yeah, I've officially got it past HR. We aim to go live within the first week of each and every month, at which point we'll hang around these microphones to talk about all the latest tips and tricks for QuickBooks and the world of accounting. And boy, do we have some stuff to talk about today. We've got a very juicy and spicy episode in store for you. I'm one of your hosts, Aaron Patrick, a chartered accountant and owner of an accounting firm called Boffix, a QuickBooks certified trainer, fancy new logo, and that QuickBooks chap on YouTube. And with me is a panel of experts. First of all, let's go to my right, left. There we are. Johann, do you want to give a introduction to yourself and let everyone know who you are?
Good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, Johann from On Point Accounting Group. I run the On Point Accounting Group. I also do Ask the Accountant, our weekly podcast with my co-host Aaron Patrick. And I also am the co-founder for Client Engager.
Excellent. Probably Charlie, do you want to give a breakdown there of what you are, what you do, who you are?
I am Charlie Khan. I'm an accountant in West London, long-time QuickBooks user, and I run a Facebook group for QuickBooks Pro Advisors. Go to Facebook and look up QBOA user group, and come and join us.
Excellent. We'll make sure we put some links and stuff in the little things below and put it through. Don't forget, though, we've got a cracker in store for you today. And first of all, just go through a bit of admin. So we're at our regular time, 4:30 UK time. So if you're listening to this back at a later time, why not think about joining us live? Just like we have some people in the chat already. Hi, Kirsty. How's it going? Keeping me company while I do CISM invoicing. Oof. I mean, unless you do it on QuickBooks, where it's an absolute dream to do, maybe, then yeah, good luck with that one. And those people will give us an opportunity to talk to us and keep us honest and ask their burning questions. Furthermore, we do go live on the podcast services around the globe, so feel free to subscribe on your podcast service of choice. And our agenda for today's show is as follows. Well, we're going to talk about our big juicy topic of fixed asset register, more on that in a moment. Then we'll look at the new one left-hand panel that rules them all, and we can talk about that in more detail. And then we've got the roadshow. We've got loads of updates from the UK, loads of updates from the US, and go from there. But before we go into our first topic, let's have a bit of a catch-up from what happened this time since last time we've all been together. So there's been a few milestones that I think we should celebrate. First of all, Johann has 1 million impressions on LinkedIn. That's right, isn't it?
It is.
1 million. Do you have to do the little thing? Is that how we do it? Exactly, 1 million. So congratulations.
Over 365 days.
That is impressive. That is a bit, and we're still yet to have that stats yet, but we'd love to know the breakdown of sock related versus just normal posters, just to see how that
sock related post isn't in there anymore. That's over a year old.
No way. So that's 1 million without the. So it would have been 2 million with the sock post. Is that how it works?
Good as, yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
We're calling Johann Kardashian from now on.
Is that what we do now? Love it. And Charlie, this is the first time you've been on, we think, since the Accounting Council. So tell them what was it like? How was it? It was a good event.
It was great. I guess you guys talked about it on the last one or two sessions of these, which sadly I missed.
Hey, Charlie, just one step. You
could at least listen back.
You talked about it. Does that mean you didn't listen?
So I did, but not. I wasn't 100% concentrated every second. I apologize. That's terrible, isn't it? I have not done all my homework. I sit at the back of the class.
We'll send the shovel in the post.
Sorry, teacher. I shall sit in detention for not having done all my homework. But the Accounting Council was great. We've got another one coming up. It was very good, very useful. And it is great that Intuit are, again, because they had one some years ago, listening to the likes of us and other people who are even better than us, giving feedback to Intuit and telling them what works, what doesn't work, and making the product better for those of us at the coalface who actually use the product day in, day out. So, yeah, very good.
Definitely. Yeah. And we're looking forward to it's next week, isn't it? The next one. I don't know if you guys heard of a guy called Phil Spencer. Does that ring any bells? He's the no. So he's the head of Xbox, which is the console. And what he does is every time he goes live and does something like this, he'll use his background and put something little sneaky little thing on there, little Easter egg. So I'm thinking it's after the Accounting Council. We'll make sure we don't break any NDAs, but I'm thinking we should put something in the background so people can try and figure out what is it we're trying to say. So yeah, keep an eye on that going forward. I'm gonna make sure we do that, and that should be good. Yeah, and to be fair though, Charlie, you might as well get involved with what's going on as well, like, because normally when we announce something, you then go, sorry, what's that? And come back again. So
yeah.
You can play along with the rest of the team, though. You know, we could put stuff in the background and you could play along and be like,
absolutely.
Was I told about that?
Well, you guys are trainers, so you're always up to date on all the new stuff coming down the down the line. So a lot of these things are new to me, and it's great.
Exactly. And then just a final toot my own horn as well. I got to 10,000 subs on QuickBooks. So QuickBooks on YouTube for Aaron Patrick, the QuickBooks chap. So I'm very, very happy with that one. And it's all thanks to each and every one of you who listen and subscribe to the channel. So thank you very much. Right, so let's get on with the main talking points. And our first main talking point is about the QuickBooks Roadshow. So the idea here is that QuickBooks is going to go around the UK. We've got some very, very good speakers and panelists involved to make it worth watching for you guys.
The best.
Absolutely, absolute top tier. And if it goes by anything of what's happened in the last couple of ones that have happened, so we had one in Manchester and Birmingham, some great announcements to come through. Some of the product leads will be there as well, so you can talk to them about some of the new enhancements like practice management, like QuickBooks Payroll Bureau. And like books to tax as well. So highly recommend you getting down there. Johann, did you say you've got the dates and stuff for people to keep an eye out for?
I do. Yeah, get your pens and paper ready, people. So the roadshow is throughout the next month, so October. The first day show is at Brighton, at the Grand Brighton on the 4th of October. Then we are going up to Glasgow. I suppose we can't have nice places every time. So we're going up to Glasgow on the 10th of October. I won't be staying over, not just because I live in Edinburgh, but because I don't want to stay in Glasgow. On the 12th of October, we're in Reading at the Crown Plaza in Reading. Then on the 17th of October, we'll be in Chelmsford at the City Racecourse. And then on the 31st of October, we will be in Leeds at Leeds Met Hotel.
Amazing.
There we go.
It should be a good one. Again, if we go by what the others were, some great content out of there. So hope to see you guys there, because both me and Johann will be at each and every one of them. And Charlie, you trying to get to a couple of them, are you?
I've got Reading in my diary on the 12th of October as the one that I'm going to go to, as I'm in West London. That's probably the easiest.
Awesome.
Yeah, I could have done Brighton, but I'm going to be in Cornwall, so I can't. Otherwise, I'd gone to Brighton.
Fair enough. Well, it makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah, the Reading one would be a nice one, and we'll all be a little bit more warmed into what to expect as well. So, yeah, it'll be a good one, that one. Awesome.
Halfway through our tour, we won't be quite knackered, but
maybe the Reading one's the one that we decide to do our QuickBooks. We'll see what the dates are. Maybe an in-person QuickBooks Labs for that one could be on the card. So keep.
I just want to check if you guys, as your speakers on these things, if you put in your riders, no blue M&Ms and all that kind of stuff. I hope you've gone full rock and roll.
I've just said no zero. I don't want anyone talking about zero during mine. Obviously, they're allowed to talk to Johann about zero because he's now a zero fanboy. But for me, I stated no zero comments.
You mentioned the stage word a few minutes ago. That upset me.
Exactly. Yeah. Brilliant. All right, let's move on to our main talking point, which is obviously the US have had a breakthrough, and they have had a brand new addition to their QuickBooks arsenal. So a bit of a history on this one. A year ago, was it? They did the QuickBooks Connect over in the US, and they mentioned that fixed assets was coming to QuickBooks. Got us all very excited, especially when you think about the fact that we've not had fixed asset register since it's been launched, whereas competitors like Xero and Free Agent have got fixed asset register. So if anyone follows Apple, you know exactly what should be happening here. It's going to be a case that, the fixed asset module, they weren't the first to do it, but, they're going to come along and they're going to be the best at it, is what you kind of expect, right? Especially when we found out that the fixed asset register is only available in the premium edition of QuickBooks, so only available in QuickBooks Advanced. So I was very excited. That is perfection, right? We've got 5-year development time, only available in the premium one. To me, I was thinking, well, maybe that means that they're going to have this really fancy fixed asset register in QuickBooks Advanced. Maybe later down the line, we'll get to see a more watered down version in the other versions. That's what I was expecting. And I was thinking to myself, what innovation could Intuit bring to this? Because they've had 5 years to build it. It's going in the premium one. You know, Charlie, what would you say would really like show you if you could have anything in a fixed asset world? We know how good it can be. NetTracker blows it out the water when it comes to how fixed asset registers should be. Anything you could think you'd want to see in this 5 years in making in this premium product?
Well, I'd like to see it automatically maybe pick up when something should be an asset rather than a revenue item for those of us who don't have accountants helping them. I would like to see it automatically calculating depreciation, and you could maybe tell it you want to post it monthly or quarterly or annually, and then post it automatically on a flat rate or reducing balance method by choice. Those are the kind of things I would expect to be in a basic version.
Exactly, and that's kind of feature parity to what the others do, right? So that's expectation. But when it's going to be in a premium product, when it's going to be 5 years worth of making this, going to show us something different, right? Something that none of us have ever thought of. This is going to push the boundaries of where fixed asset register could be. Well, that was my thoughts. What we got in reality, not quite the same. So I'll bring it up on screen so people can see it in all its glory. Let me just make sure there's nothing on that people can't see. Yeah, we're fine. So I'll bring it up on screen now. And basically, so this is a QuickBooks USA only at the moment. And then down the bottom here, I've got accounting, and I've got the option here for fixed asset. So here we go. Here is the big fixed asset register.
First step, they've put it in the right place, in my opinion. Like,
is that on the new menu or the old menu?
It's under accounting. They could have made a right mess of that. They haven't. So
far, so good is what we're saying.
Yeah.
It's not in transactions, or something, in other words.
Credit where credit's due.
Cash flow. Yeah. So we've got this, and it's given us two options. We can add an asset, a single asset, or we can add multiple assets. We'll come back to the multiple assets. Basically, though, if I add an asset, I get this area on the right-hand side, and I complete this area. Now, maybe, again, I'm being over expectation here of what to expect here. But what happens is this basically generates, once you've completed all this detail, so you've put the asset name, the class, the purchase price, all this sort of stuff through, where the detail is going to go, it basically creates your recurring journal from the date that you've put the asset in. And that's it. That's your fixed asset register done. Was anyone expecting anything more from this? Because I certainly was. What's your thoughts then of effectively a way of creating a recurring journal? Who wants to go first?
Well, so it's this simply, this is simply creating a recurring journal that you could do manually anyway. It's not actually prompting you, helping you, automating it.
Not looking into the fixed asset register, fixed asset items itself, not doing anything. And you can't go backwards as well. Remember, recurring journals, one big issue is you can only go forwards. So if you're doing this at the year end,
oh, that's crazy.
You'll have to just do the manual journal anyway.
Yeah, well, I've raised that before. My general issue with the fact that you can't raise prior, recurring journals to start from 6 or 12 months ago. I see no reason why they block that. It makes no sense to me at all.
No, I mean this. Yeah. Have I got another one I can jump into? I don't think I have. Fixed asset. I think that company's gone. I might have some. I can show you what it looks like. So on this one here, I can go in and let's go to accountants. I'm on a different one. So it's not in the on the new one, and we'll talk about the new one in a minute. It's not under accounting anymore. It's now under advanced accounting. There we are.
Advanced.
Needed that. So here is 2 options I've put in automatically for us. So I've got a laptop and a MacBook Pro, and literally all we're getting the options to do here is we can see when it's going to be posting those journals, what journals have already been posted. In this case, it's just the one. And that's the whole fixed asset register, really, in a nutshell. Oh, sorry, I forgot to show you the add multiple assets. You can click on here, and very much similar to how you can add multiple items in the invoices area and stuff. You can copy and paste and drop the items into here if you want to.
Wow.
So let's just go through our expectations, which was this all singing, all dancing, fancy fixed asset register that could do, fixed asset registering. What do you think to what we got? Johann, you've been very quiet. It's unlike you. Are you speechless again?
First of all, I'd like to pick fault with your fixed asset register. Why would a laptop last 4 years when a MacBook can only last 3? I'd have thought a laptop's appreciated by what, month 10?
Very true. Very true.
It's a bit crap, isn't it?
Like, a little bit.
To be classed as a value add to the QuickBooks, like if they stuck it in Simple Start, yeah, fair enough.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I get it.
If this was the watered down version that they released as a, we know you need a fixed asset register. Here it is.
I hope this is version 1, and there are grand plans of version 1 before it comes to the UK. But I don't think it is. I think this is it. This is what we've been waiting 5 years for. And Ash and NetTracker are not under threat here.
No. We've got no way of putting them into different categories, so we can't even reconcile. Like this area here has no reconciliation to your balance sheet. Like you've got no way of doing it. Absolutely no way. We don't know if we've got the right assets in here, if we're missing anything.
There's no flagging. So in NetTracker, it tells me you've got £5,000 worth of assets, but you've only allocated 2.5. Where's the other 2.5, please?
Yeah. And if you have missed one and you put it in there, it'll just backdate it all for you.
I'm just looking at it now because I've got a US QBOA account, which I never use, but I've got one. So I'm logged into it. So I can see it there. Yeah. So you've got an asset account, a depreciation expense account, an accumulated depreciation account. Okay. At the end of the year, will it automatically move the depreciation from the, I suppose it doesn't. No, it
doesn't know what.
Does it move it to the accumulated?
Nope.
It's not going to do that.
Because accumulated is just accumulated. That expense account is for your P&L.
Oh, okay, fine. So it'll just post it into that. Okay, so at the balance sheet, it's not going to have depreciation for the year. Okay.
Which I feel like America doesn't need that. I don't know why. Maybe.
Well, hopefully, if they bring it here, they do. So the depreciation method, I can see they've got 3 options: straight line, double declining. Don't know what that means.
That's
American. Accelerated. These are all American. So hopefully they'll have straight line, and reducing balance for over here.
Why bother? It's going to look like this one thing over. Do you know what I mean? Like it.
Is it fair to say we finally found something less useful than a chocolate fire guard?
Don't, and maybe it's our fault for having such high expectations, but
our expectations aren't unrealistic because they are set by their competitors.
True.
Our expectations are nothing more than what Xero, Free Agent, NetTracker deliver to us already.
Yeah. And what we got is a list that you could create some recurring journals for, which you could actually do all of this functionality already. All of this is already here. When you add a new chart of account, if you go into a chart of account and you want to add a new one, then you're already given the option when you press new and went to fixed assets. I know we've got the fancy new one here, but we went into fixed assets and then we could say that it was actually maybe they've got rid of that now, the new one, but you used to be able to tick the box to say it was a fixed asset and you could, it would automatically create you the rest of it, right? Like that was a
Surely
functionality.
they do market research, right? Not like basically espionage. So like, in my
what
old
would the
job,
competition-
I used to work for an outdoor activity company, and its competitors were people like Pontins, and we would send family, like staff members, to Pontins on a paid holiday to work to get the research on the competition, and to come back to us, tell us what they're doing well, what they're doing wrong, what can we improve, how can we have the edge on them. Are we seriously telling me no one at Intuit has logged into Xero or NetTracker and looked at what they're offering, gone, right, that's the standard we need to meet? Instead, they've just gone, yeah, this will be all right.
Well, they didn't even need to log into competitors. They could have gone to QuickBooks and Enterprise, because I had a half decent fixed asset register in there.
Yeah, on
If
desktop.
they'd have replicated that, you'd at least have a good starting point. So, yeah, I mean,
Who turned desktop off before they copied everything?
exactly, exactly. I remember looking at it and going, "Oh, I'm missing something here. This must be like the intro page."
No, it's not you, it's the software. That's what's missing something.
It's literally like, I mean, even if I was to use this filter system here, and I'm trying to filter something and go, right, well, how many, what is my fixed asset computers? What's in there?
Credit
Then if I'm more than one transaction, I'm going to have to add them up anyway.
They've reduced that list, so it's only appropriate charts of accounts that you're looking at.
Wow.
It stops the client from posting it to motor vehicle expenses or something ludicrous like that.
Well, no, because you can add a new one, so you can add new and create any old nonsense you want. I just added one, but yeah, it's not overly impressive.
Yeah, I mean, what else can we say? The other thing about this is that what if you do have an asset halfway through a year? Like, there is no way at the moment of bringing that asset in. I can't put a starting price. Yeah, so okay. Well, I don't know what else to say. I'm flabbergasted by it. Yeah, thankfully it's not in the UK yet, so thankfully it's not our problem. That's about the only.
Back to the drawing board.
Yeah, that's. Let's hope they do. Like, let's hope that's the thing, and hopefully that's something we could talk about at Accounting Council or something as an opportunity. All right,
is this?
Exactly right. Exactly right. Okay,
what have you done?
So the next thing was, you may have seen this going up in the top left-hand corner. Try your new menu. Changes are coming to your menu soon. Try it out early. So effectively what QuickBooks has done is says it was a little bit crazy that we had two different menus, which we all said this at the same time, but they've cotton on, which is great. And the fact that you had the opportunity to switch between business view and accounting view caused confusion. You could be trying to help your client out and they've got a completely different menu to you have. So now what they've done is they've gone, right, we're going to have one menu to solve them and all. And that's what they've done. So this is going to be the new menu going forward. I know this is the American one. Let me jump over to a British one, UK one. This is what we're going to get. We're going to get this one menu, and it doesn't matter if you go business or accounting, they'll be gone from going forward. And we have one menu to rule them all. Now, I'm up for this. I think this is definitely the right direction. I quite like the menu layout that it is. Transactions now makes a lot of sense. Reconciles there. We love that. The fact that's there. Receipts have had a bump up, which is great. We now got opportunity to get to our chart of accounts from transactions. So overall, I think it's positive. Only one. Oh, yeah, bookmarks are back fully as well, so we can use those bookmarks and continue to use that. So we get all the functionality of that new menu that we liked and loved, and that's all come here. My one and only bit of critique, if I was going to have a critique on it, is that they've got rid of tags, and I don't understand why tags have gone, at least from the left-hand navigation. Tags don't have a home anymore. It's just fallen off completely. Now, I don't know if that was a mistake or an error, or they've just felt that tags isn't getting the love that it needs, so it doesn't deserve to have a place on the left-hand navigation, which is a shame because I do love tags.
Is it not? But do they not just treat it like classes and locations, and it's
it's on the list. It is here.
Yeah.
We can get to it, so it's not that it's gone completely, but it's one of those. If they've taken it from the left-hand navigation, is that a warning sign to us? Should we be worried that no one's using the feature? So, is it up for the chop sort of idea? I don't know, but it's just interesting that it's fallen off the list. We now have the planner, cash flow planners in a new place. It's now called planner. It's not called cash flow. It's subtle changes, functionality wise, exactly the same. What's everyone's opinion on it? Who wants to go first? Who wants to give their opinion on the new left-hand navigation to rule them all?
I have no issue with this. I am happy that everyone's got the same menu. And when I speak to a client on the phone, I can go do this, do that. And it's like, I can do, I can click through myself. Makes complete and utter sense. The silver lining, and if you need one for this, and the bonus to this, is the entertainment factor of watching all the accountants and bookkeepers on the social network groups whinge about a change. They've changed the menu. The world is going to end. It's like, get over it. Move on. Like, there's bigger problems, like the fixed asset register.
Mm-hmm. Charlie, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think I share both your views. I'm not overly concerned as long as you can find the things, and within 5 minutes of using it, you learn where the new stuff is. My only issue is, if I go into one client, I'm on the old menu, another one on the new menu, and just remember to put them all in the same format. And 5 minutes after I've done that, it'll be easy. I mean, I remember years ago on QuickBooks Desktop, when they started it, they still kept the American terminology of vendor instead of supplier, and a lot of people complain. I mean, I complained about it too, but again, within 5 minutes of using it, I remembered that the word vendor was simply American for supplier. But
it's not a machine full of chocolate around the corner.
Yeah, exactly. But I agree. I mean, having one menu that we share with clients, don't have different views, is probably a good idea. I'm trying to think, because there were a few. The fact they're all in the same places, I completely agree with. There were a few facilities that we had the clients didn't have, so I presume that still happens, does it? That
so if you're as an accountant, then you're the only one who's going to see overview and accountant review, etc. So that's still going to happen. Right. It was more terminology, wasn't it? In the new menu, they were calling it money in. No, not money in. It was I forget what they were calling it, but it was more client facing, wasn't it? So it's I suppose it's a little shame that we kind of lost out on that, but I don't think that's a big deal.
One of the things I've spent a lot of time recently talking to new clients about is how much jargon accountants and bookkeepers still throw at business owners and clients.
Yes. Yeah.
And anything that promotes us talking in and helps us to talk in their language, I think is a huge benefit.
Of course.
So, we've got to stop talking in these jargony terms unless we're talking to each other when we're talking to our clients, because our clients just walk away baffled and mystified and like it's a black art, and it's not. We just need to speak in plain English so they understand what we're talking about. So the fact that these menus are now forcing us to say it's called expenses, or whatever it's called, I've got no issue with that.
Yeah, agreed. We still get the functionality of being able to customize the menu as well. So we can go back in and we can take off, say, payroll if that's not going to be related to the client. We can move that around. I believe, but we need to test this one. I believe we still have that issue. Is it an issue, or am I just moaning? Where your left-hand navigation is for you and you only. So you can't, because one of the things great about the bookmarks, I've sat with clients doing this, is we set those bookmarks off as almost like a to-do list for them. When you first go in, go to this top one, so bank transactions, then go down to this one, then go down. But we have to be logged in with them, and we have to kind of work their way through it. We can't push that to them. I think that's a dreamland, isn't it? Actually having that functionality, really, it'd be nice to have. Does anyone feel that losing, mileage is now in a more prevalent place, so that's good. That's now under expenses. We like that. Losing tags, does that feel like there's an issue, or am I overthinking that one?
I'm not bothered by that, because if we lost tags, I would agree. And if as you suggest, if they think that people aren't using it and therefore they may drop it, that would be a bad thing. Not that I use it much, but I occasionally use it and it's useful. But the fact that it's available from the cog menu at the top right and instead of on the left menu doesn't bother me.
Good.
Johann, what do you think?
Yeah, if it's in the same place as classes and locations, then it makes sense because it's a tracking tool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've no issue with that. I don't even think I'd be fussed if it did get the chop. Like when I look at my client base, as Aaron's walked off, when I look at my client base, there's so few, if any, that use classes, location, and tags. They just don't go into that granular data. Now, I know there's plenty of big companies out there and bigger clients out there that do want to go into that granular data, and they do have different branches and stuff like that. I get it. I get why it's there. But just from my practice point of view, I don't think we'd be upset. Although I do like the reporting feature behind tags, like this in and out side of things. So, yeah.
See, what we use it for is that feedback loop for a client. So if a client's got a problem with what they're doing, they can put in ask the accountant or put the question in there, and then that makes it easy. Because what I find tags for more than anything is just that discovering tool, right? There's a transaction XYZ and you want to get back to it, we'll stick a little tag in there. It's really easy to find again. That's what we use it more than anything else.
Isn't uncategorized on the P&L for that, and then you can go and use the tool.
The Find My. Yeah.
No, you could, for example, have posted a bunch of transactions for the client, and there's a few of them you just want to discuss with the client. You just give them a tag, discuss with clients, whatever you want to call it, and those are the ones that in your monthly call with the client, you go to the screen you were just on, pull up those tagged items, and go, hey, Mr. Client, I just want to talk about these 4 items with you. And you've already posted them, you've already coded them, you've dealt with it, everything else is done. It's just a flag to follow up.
Yeah. I'll tell you a case actually where it is helpful. I take my words back. Tags are very good for R&D.
Yes. Yeah.
So a client will go, that was an R&D project, that was an R&D project, that was an R&D project. We then go through, no, it wasn't, no, it wasn't, no, it wasn't. But it started the conversation. It's giving us a bit of a shorter list compared to what it was.
Yeah. The other use we have for tags is if we've got a junior member of staff who's a bit confused or doesn't 100% know if they've done it right and they want it to be reviewed by a senior member, that's what we use tags for. It's like, look, did I get the VAT right here? Did I get it? Did I get the category right? Can you just look at it for me? They're quite useful. So, yeah, if tags go, I'll be very, very upset. But, yeah, maybe I'm in the minority there. Right. Yeah. What else was there? Okay, so they're the 2 big announcements for this one: the new menu and the fixed asset register. It's barely a register. Going from there. So what else have we had announced in the last month? Well, you'll be pleased to know that Starling has a new Spaces integration. So we had a long conversation about this, 2 months ago, month before, whenever it was.
Every month.
And we all agreed that at the moment, anything to do with Starling, anything to do with those pots, banks and all them sort of things were causing us issues, and there was various problems with them. Now, Starling have come up with a solution. I'm not 100%. I feel like this is a band-aid to a bigger problem, but it's fine that at least we've got something that we can work with. Basically, Starling now have the option when you add Starling. In fact, I'll show you as I show screen. When you add Starling now, if I go to transactions, go to bank transactions, go into the link account option and type the word Starling in, you'll now have 2 different options. You've got Starling Bank, the original connection, where it will have all the problems we talked about in a couple of months' time about the spaces and about the fact that it's going to bring in the feed and then having to move the spaces around, and you're going to be able to see the spaces, etc., etc. And then there's Starling Bank without spaces. And what that will do is it just ignores all the spaces completely. And it will just basically be the same amount that you'll have if you were to request a bank statement off from Starling themselves. So it's a solution. It definitely is a lot better for us as the accountant, because that means that we don't have these missing transactions that we're having to deal with. It means that we can be more confident that we're actually got a holistic view of what the client's got, and we can be more confident we're not missing transactions, etc., etc. feel like a bit of a shame that we lose that insight into the client in terms of what they're saving and what pots they're using and stuff like that. Now, that won't be for every client, but there are some clients out there that's really useful to us because it helps us with the management accounts, helps us giving, advice and helping them kind of manage their kind of spaces and stuff. What's your guys think? So again, I'm not sure this is the exact answer, or definitely I was surprised this was the solution that was brought out. But is it good to at least we've got a solution now? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's probably good, especially for clients who are setting it up themselves. I mean, I started using. I followed your, as always, wonderful video, Aaron, when you did one a few months ago. You put one up on how to use Monzo and Starling spaces and pots and things.
Yeah.
And I soon after you launched that, I set a client who had Monzo, and I set them up with their main Monzo account and the 2 sub accounts, which is a great way of dealing with it. I mean, I just wish it was just by default, it automatically just treated them a bit like a current account and a savings account, and just treated them as I get why the banks offer that to clients, and it's very useful for many clients to have that, but when QuickBooks syncs to the bank, why it can't just see, oh, okay, there's a separate pot and the transfers are just transfers to that savings pot, and treat them like that automatically. It seems a little overcomplicated.
Yeah, and further to that, shout out to Armalytics, because Armalytics is the only solution I've known which is a solution where you can get bank statements off your clients basically and automate that process. They're the only solution I've known where they've actually figured out spaces, and that was the only way where we could actually get those spaces from clients. Without that, we're asking our clients to do screenshots, and they're having to send the screenshots over to us. So, yeah, it's been a bit of a nightmare. What about you, Johann? What do you think? Is it good?
I'm not talking to Starling at the moment. I've fallen out with them. But yeah, I'm not convinced this is the solution, if I'm honest. So what we're saying, so what happens if a client who's not, so I sit down with a client.
Yeah.
Right, you're banking with Starling. Brilliant. Are you using their spaces? No. Right, we connect your Starling bank. 3 months later, I've started using those spaces. So do I disconnect and reconnect using the Starling bank with spaces, or do I have to disconnect, reconnect to Starling bank spaces and archive the old Starling account? Like what happens there?
I honestly think going forward, if it's just a simple account client, you just want Starling bank without spaces. And I personally think that should be the default going forward, and you just have an option to have the other one. If you do have that need for those spaces to be on the financial statements for whatever reason. Again, we have 2 clients I can think of where Starling bank, the original connection, is actually worthwhile. Every other client, they can be on that without space and they won't care. So yeah.
Well, no, my clients, if I showed them a balance sheet that only showed one figure for Starling, they'd be questioning, go, no, I've got 800 quid in the main account and £3,000 waiting for my VAT. They would want to see them separately.
We've literally just had that debate with a client who's a bit old school, and like we've asked them for their bank statements from Starling because they were disputing the balance on the balance sheet. So they sent us the bank statement. We said, look, it matches. And then she's like sending screenshots, but this doesn't look right. Like the bank statements must be wrong. It's like they don't take into account spaces. They're adding it all together.
Yeah.
What? Well, that's just ridiculous. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, you're not wrong. It is ridiculous. Yeah. Especially now you can make payments in and out of the bloody things. But yeah, I'm not convinced.
It's third parties from the pots. From the spaces.
That was a big issue from last time. You remember?
Oh, right. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So
because then you wouldn't see it like that.
But you see, for me, I get what, as I said earlier, I get what the banks are doing, but it would and to have a facility whereby you can automatically take, tell it, okay, every time I put money in my bank account, I want to take 20% of it or 18%, whatever it is, stick it into a separate pot for my VAT or put a percentage aside for income tax or corporation tax. That's great. To offer that facility is great. But thereafter, I don't know why they can't just treat them as separate bank accounts. You've got a current account, you've got savings account 1, you've got savings account 2. And just the idea that they are not really a separate account, to me, is where all the confusion comes from. The automation of moving it across is brilliant. The rest of it, they're making it too complicated, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, and we can debate it. We debated it last time, didn't we? You know, there's pros and cons, isn't there? It's about the fact that your credit score isn't at risk and all that sort of stuff because you're not creating new accounts and everything else. So, yeah, it does make it more complicated. But they're the chips we've got to deal with, isn't it? At the end of the day, I just feel like we've got a solution now where we can make it super simple for us and we can keep that done. And if we want to go complicated, we have that option. I just feel like that more complicated option bit, we still need a bit of help there. We shouldn't have to rely on the likes of Analytics to be able to do the job. We should be able to do it directly through QuickBooks, shouldn't we say?
So what, just as a sort of an end cap to that one, for those people who've seen your previous video, Aaron, what would you recommend people do now? Do it like they were doing it before with the 2 sub accounts, or use, which of those bank options should they be using and what should they set up in QuickBooks?
I think simplified way of doing it, everyone should default to Starling Bank without spaces. Even for my company, like I'm on Starling, I don't need to know how much is in that's for me to do on a day-to-day basis, right? So for simplified, I'm just using those Starling Bank without spaces. But if you're doing management accounts or you're doing something a little bit more handsy-on with the client at that point, then you're going to have to go down the pane and have that Starling Bank one and do the chart of accounts and do the sub accounts and go down that route. And again, my recommendation is Analytics at that point. To be able to get the data. It's the only way. Even Starling themselves can't give you that data. So yeah, it's crazy that we're in that world, but that's how it will do. So yeah, that's where we're in. That's what it is, isn't it? At least we've got a solution for it. Apparently, they're now working with Monzo and the others to kind of build up one there. So let's hope that that's coming through. And speaking of Monzo, I get a client to Monzo account ignoring the pots and space and have to exclude the items where I only see half of them. Very annoying. Exactly. So the Monzo one is apparently in the works as well. So keep an eye out for that one. I feel like they need to get the name in a little bit easier to go there. But yeah, we'll see. And just so as a top tip as well, if you're a little bit confused about what account your client is connected, don't forget you've got the manage connections option under link account. And from here, that's when you can see what account. So this is Starling Bank without spaces. So then I know then that's the one that's been connected to that point. So yeah, that's your only way for yourself to know which account, especially if the clients attach their own. You're gonna have to go link account and manage connections to find that out. Cool. Any more on that one, or should we move on to the next update?
Move on.
Moving on. Awesome. All right, really quick one, this one. I like this update. So if I go to my business overview page, we've started to finally... Oh, are they not here? Oh, yeah, they are. We started to finally get some new widgets on our dashboard. We've been promised this for a long time, probably longer than fixed asset registers as well. But this one, though, they've delivered something that's actually really useful. They're not a chocolate teapot, Fire Guard, or whatever we want to call it. So on the left-hand side, you'll see here, I now have my apps, which is the new one. It tells me how many's connected, how many I've got issues with, and I can jump in, view the issues, and fix them accordingly from there. So love this. I'm hoping some more dashboard widgets are on its way. I'm hoping this is the first of many. I'd love to see one maybe around receipt capture. I think would be quite a nice one, so we can keep an eye on that. Maybe mileage or something, I don't know, so we can see when a client, it's nothing worse than when the client says, but I provide you all the mileage information, and it's because you've just not checked their mileage area, which is yeah, it's difficult at the time to keep on top of that. So yeah, we've got a widget. Don't forget, we can now customize this widget area how we want, make it as nice and thing as we want. What's everyone's thoughts? It's a quick and easy update, but good, bad, indifferent.
I mean, it took them longer to deliver this customizable widget area than it took Apple to deliver on their phones, but okay. Yeah, no, I do like the Apple the apps area. I like that is flagging in when there's issues and stuff. So yeah, no, I do like that. They need to get on with it. Like, what else can they bring to this? Like, all of those widgets we know they've got in reports. That I can't remember the section called.
Performance Center.
Performance Center. All of those should just be instantly available on this dashboard. Full stop.
Yeah.
And again, we should be able to tailor the dashboard for our clients to see with those performance center widgets. Like a client might not need to know that this sales graph drives me nuts. Client looks at it and goes, "That's not right." It's like, well, it's based on cash in. It's not based on the, it's not going to match your profit and loss. So let us control what it displays. Let us have those widgets out of Performance Center to populate this screen.
Exactly right. Yeah. Because the dashboard is so powerful when done right, and it should be done right. So yeah.
Yep.
Charlie, what's your thoughts?
I've got to be honest. I very, very rarely, if ever, look at this. But if I understood what you were saying there, Johann, I think I agree with you. If I could set this up for my clients, I've got a similar thing on I don't know if I've ever mentioned this before, on customized reports. I would like, in customized reports, you can set up customized reports and allow clients to see them, or just have it for internal use for the accountants. But if I go and change that customized report and then save it again for the client, when my client logs in, he's now got 2 versions, 3 versions, 5 versions of the same report. What would be nice would be a dynamic link, and it's part of the same.
Like having a spreadsheet, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's part of the same thing. If Intuit recognize our value to the clients, then allow us to set the screens up for our clients how we want, or how we best think our clients want it. Obviously, the client can override us if they want, but many of us have many clients who have got no interest in overriding anything. They just want to see what we advise them they need to be looking at.
Yeah. And I'm having this, we're doing a huge revamp of our management reporting methods in our firm at the moment. We're scrapping profit and loss. We're scrapping balance sheets because clients don't know what they are. They can't read them because it's like trying to read the matrix to them. But we're giving them 4 or 5 key performance indicators in the management report in graphic form, whether it's a graph or a pie chart, whatever it is, so they can see and understand what's going on. And we could deliver that through the QuickBooks dashboard if we had that ability.
Yeah.
It'd be so much nice to do that, right? Like, you don't have to give them a link to another piece of software, whatever it is you're using, You could just have them, go to this performance center area or whatever it is, wherever it's been, or on this dashboard itself, and just push them to go there. It would be so much easier, wouldn't it? So,
yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, it's a good, we finally get our new widgets, which we've been promised for a long time. There was a
firing gun. The tortoise has put a foot forwards.
I mean, back in the day, we were promised that third parties would be able to put some widgets on.
Yep.
So, imagine
that would require a decent API, wouldn't it? That's a whole different topic.
Exactly. But imagine a client engager one down here, accounts are due in 5 days' time, The possibilities could be endless, but apparently, yeah, we're not allowed the tools to do the job. Okay, so next one is we've had a new experience on when we manage our users and add our users into QuickBooks. So hopefully you've all seen this already. And when I go to add user, my world has changed. So yeah, we're going to have a lot of people very upset about this, but it is for the better, in my opinion.
Change.
God damn it. So the idea here is put first name, last name, email in through here, and then you get to choose a role. So gone are the times where you get to actually go through and pick what they can and can't do. You now get to choose a role. When you select a role, it does, in fairness to you, tell you straight away what they can and can't do. We lose a little bit of functionality here, so we can't now dictate if they can add or remove users like we're doing now, or see the billing, or see the admin area. So there's kind of a few functionality that we were used to that we don't have now, and bringing it all into here. So it's change. It brings it more in line with what you get on the advanced version, but on the advanced version, then you can define what those roles are and be more I thought someone was complaining about the roles then. And then we get to see going through from there. So what's everyone thought? Are they happy with this update? Are they upset with it? Have they got the pitchforks out? Who wants to go first?
I like the user interface. I just have issue with this drop-down menu that you're on, there's all this dead space to the right-hand side of that drop-down menu, and they've not made it wide enough for you to be able to read the whole title of the category.
Is that because I'm zoomed in though? No, it's not. No, that's not a me problem.
No, that's a them problem. Like, how many user interface experts?
Oh, I can see them on mine. That's interesting.
Oh, can you? So maybe I'm zoomed in too far. Maybe it is a me problem. But yeah, it's. I mean, you could click here and see this. This is quite tricky to understand. I think maybe it's more of a table format would be better there. Maybe, but yeah.
Why can't that menu be the drop-down menu where you've got the heading? So you click on the drop-down menu, you've got a heading, and then you've got the description.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, why does it need to be a hidden menu? It doesn't.
And now you've got to scroll all the way down here to say send invitation. So.
There goes my efficiency.
Yeah, gone. But yeah, it's an update, isn't it? We needed it at some point. People
it's
are
given
still
us 2 minutes worth of content. We can't complain too much.
I mean, you talk to anyone that the roles situation still isn't enough in QuickBooks Advanced, right?
Yeah.
Like we need to be able to determine who can see which bank account, or can they only see debits or credits in the bank. That's sort of granular data we need in that advanced product. I don't think we need it here in these. If you want that advanced, that's fair enough, right? Yeah, I mean, maybe this is better for new people now. Maybe they'll be more inclined to click the right one. I've never really had a client accidentally invite the wrong person. That's never really been a problem. I don't know if you guys have, but yeah, there's they're your options. So yeah, it's the new way. It's just to streamline it, I think, so it's more in line with what QuickBooks Advanced is like, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's offering anything new at all.
Nothing new at all. No.
It's simply doing it in a different way.
Yeah, we've just lost that functionality of adding those little tick boxes in, which just confused clients, if anything. Like, what do you mean about the billing area? What do you mean about adding client? You just had to, it was another bit you had to explain to them, right? So, yeah.
Too much choice.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas now, keeps it streamlined, put them in there. We just need more granular data in the QuickBooks Advanced area, I think, and then everyone will be happy.
Yeah.
Right, final quick update for you all. The bank statement import has finally gone live with one bank at this point in time. So just to keep everyone in the loop, what this is a feature that was announced 6 years ago with open banking, maybe longer than that. But in fairness to QuickBooks, this wasn't QuickBooks holding it back. This was the banks themselves. Who knew, hey? So the idea here is that going into the reconciliation area. So now go to reconcile. I go to reconcile my new transaction area. Oh, I'm not sharing screen. So yeah, now that I can go to my new reconciliation area, you have the option here on some bank accounts now to be able to actually import the data coming through. I don't think I've got any that will come through with the thing on here, but we've had some data or some info of how this is going to work and what it's going to look like. So the first bank to jump on the bandwagon was Lloyd's, which is really frustrating for me because I have like one client on Lloyd's, and yeah, I couldn't test it for everyone. So the whole idea is you can import statements into the reconciliation area. We like that. You're currently available for Lloyd, and currently, and this is a Lloyd's issue again, you can import the last 3 months of statements. I imagine when this comes out wider, you'll be able to go back further. They are working to increase it to 18 months. This is the sticking point, and this is a Lloyd's thing at the beginning. When would you expect the reauthorization of this to be? Anyone want to put a thing? So I know we had the 30-day malark going out there and all that sort of stuff and everything else. They're going to want to have some sort of security to this, right? You're giving out bank statements, so they're going to have to be a bit secure about it. Just put a number out, and we'll give a prize to who gets who gets closest. Charlie, what's yours?
Well, I'm not going for the prize here. I'm going to tell you what I think it should be, which I'm guessing from your tone of voice is absolutely nowhere near the prize answer. But I mean, surely it should just be part of the same permissions you give when you have your 90-day consent, which is very easily done these days with the banks that comply with it. Most of them now, you click the consent. I, as the accountant, can go in and click it. That the client doesn't have to log into their bank at all, and that's brilliant. And you click your 90-day consent, and away you go. Now, clearly, you're going to tell me that's not what happens here.
You're going for 90 days. Okay, cool. Johann, what are you going for?
I'm going to go say 7 days, because it's Lloyd's, and they probably lost the records after 7 days.
If I was to tell you it was 45 minutes.
Wow.
Anyone explain to me how that's going to work in practice?
And how does the permission have to be given? Does the client have to log into their bank?
I believe it's that the client goes in, they give us grantors 45 minutes worth of
hang on.
Oh, that's useless.
I email a client saying, when you've got a minute, can you log in and do this? Let me know immediately, and let's hope I'm not in a meeting or on a call, because I need to go straight in there and get that information.
Yeah.
Yep. Again, this isn't a QuickBooks. This is the bank's issue. But oh my days, that's and they have to be secure, right? So there has to be some. It's got to be give and take here, hasn't there? But
it's no more secure that you're already syncing the bank data every day anyway with the 90-day consent. It's no new information. It's simply presenting exactly the same information in a pretty PDF with a logo at the top. Yeah. And because it's a pretty PDF with a logo at the top, you've got something you can stick in your file or stick in your work papers and say, no, I did actually check what the bank told me was the balance at the end of the period. Yeah. But it's the same data.
It's even better. Like the way that they've built it.
The same. That's the problem, I think, here. So if I went to a mortgage provider with a CSV of bank transactions, they'd laugh at me.
Yes.
But if I went in with a bank statement PDF that I have printed off from QuickBooks, my clients should be aware that I have access to that data. And with Analytics, whenever I request any bank data, they have to authorize the report every time.
Yeah.
Because it's in a format that could potentially be used for things like that, because it's almost statement-like format. Whereas Stream Connect, you don't need to get it authorized, because all they're giving you is a CSV file, which is not usable for any financial applications.
And we don't need that, right? Like, we don't need the format for a bank. What we need is just a proof that for our accounts.
We just need confirmation of the transactions and the balances on those dates. And if it can reconcile that automatically, brilliant. If it goes, oh, no, something's wrong, we go, cool, let's work that problem out.
Yeah, let's fix it. And that is where that's where the goodness of this was when I've seen it work before. Is it takes a copy of that PDF, it populates your reconciliation area for you. So, you've got automation there. You can go back historically, see those PDFs if you need to, and have that proof. Like you said, Charlie, for your working papers and stuff.
I take Johann's point that, it doesn't need to, the pretty PDF. I mean, it could be, it doesn't have to have all the fancy stuff, but it needs to have what the closing balance is at that period end date. That doesn't change depending on what you've posted or not posted. And
ideally, it has an opening balance, the date of that balance, value of transactions in, value of transactions out, and the closing balance and the date of that. That's all we really need.
Well, and you can even have a statement on it. We could even have a statement at the top of the page or something saying, this is for bank reconciliation purposes only and should not be relied upon by any third party, for example. We could solve that one problem. But if all of those things are not up to what the bank require, or at least in the early stages, then I take the point the pair of you just been talking about, that the client's got to go into the bank and they've got to tell you the second they've done it, so you can do it within 45 minutes. So if you flipped it the other way around, if we did the reconciliation and we do everything, and that then sends a trigger to the bank saying, we want the bank statement, all that needs to happen is the next time our client logs into their bank, they get a message that pops up in their app going, your accountant's requested a copy of your statement to whatever date it is. It could be in the new format we just discussed, or the existing format. And then in the app, the client just goes, yes. And then next time we log into QuickBooks, it's there because we've already requested it maybe a week ago. The client has gone in, but we don't have to tell them to go and authorize it. They don't have to do anything in sync or in tandem. they're just two steps in a process, and whenever either of us get round to it, once both of us have done what's required, the statement will then be there in QuickBooks. That would be a simple solution that protects the bank's concerns.
Again, it's not ideal, is it? But it would be much better workflow, wouldn't it? Much better workflow. I think you're right, and I think we need something like that to make this worthwhile. Otherwise, we're just not going to use it. It'll be another feature that we'll spend all this time doing. If the banks don't be more forgiving of it, we're going to spend all this time getting developed, finally getting it out in the wild. No one's going to use it because it's just impractical to use.
Yeah, I would just throw in one other comment, of course, having a dig at our friends across or down under, that of course at least QuickBooks does do reconciliations, unlike another product from another part of the world that doesn't even do a reconciliation. They think they do. They don't. We know they don't.
Yeah. The fact that even Lloyd's Bank is further ahead in technology than any of the American banks, where they still all use checks. We're still winning.
They use checks. They don't have much contactless payments over there. America's way behind us. But the reason for that is because every town has its own bank in America, whereas we sort of have a very small number of banks traditionally, until the recent disruptor banks. Yeah. But prior to that, we have very few banks in this country.
What's the argument? What's the argument against the disruptor banks giving this technology, like having this ready first? Why was it Lloyd's and not Starling or Monzo?
Well, Starling will claim GDPR or AML reasons, because that's what they say.
Very true.
You're on an Starling.
GDPR.
I mean, Monzo isn't much better in these days because they charge you to have a connection to your accountant, to your QuickBooks and to Xero and stuff. It's ridiculous.
Not to QuickBooks, do they?
Yeah, you can connect, but have the full connection and everything going through. It's a paid for. It's £5 a month. It's not a lot, but it is. Yeah, it's on their paid for plan.
There's a paywall there.
Yeah, which is very strange and very frustrating. Right. Well, I think that's all the news. There was a little bit from America, only that there's the app transactions have been updated. And from what I can tell, there's more there. So if I quickly just show the screen, then what you'll see is now if I go to transactions and app transactions, there just seems to be more options here. So Amazon Business, Amazon Seller Central, eBay was already there. Shopify has been added and Square was already there. So it's great to see that they're coming through. They are basically the one SaaS connection, just in a much more user-friendly process, which will just mean your clients are going to be able to actually understand it. And as QuickBooks Advanced rolls out their new features in terms of their e-commerce solutions and stuff like that, the idea is that we're going to get more of or your clients will have more process that they can do in here. So they'll be able to see order updates and things like that will all come through, and it'll have a much more streamlined connection, which is good. And I'm just we
don't have transactions app transactions at all, do we, over here?
No,
not yet. Not yet. And it's a weird one that it's not here, right? It's one of the ones I keep bringing up time and time again, like, when's that coming? When's that coming? When's that coming? Don't know. I don't know when it's coming. But yeah, I'm just really jealous that they get this as well. But that's one for another conversation, another day. Right. I think that's it. I think we have talked the legs off a hind donkey, or whatever the phrase is. And I feel like we've got some good updates. Overall, what's everyone saying about their updates this time around this month? I'd say if we ignore fixed asset register, it's been a good month. Yeah, we'll agree on that.
Yeah, I think it's put us in the right frame of mind, ready for the Accounting Council next week.
Yeah. Maybe
we've got some of our frustrations out, so we're a bit more constructive next week. That would be good.
That's true. That is true. That is very, very true. All right. So again, thanks to everyone who has contributed. I think we've covered all of the questions in the comments. Kirsty just says, great idea. A task waiting for them that can become. So we got a +1 for your idea there, Charlie. So that's good to see. Thanks to everyone who was talking in the comments. Thanks to everyone who's put some questions in there. Been great. And we will be back next month, same time, same place. Maybe with a face-to-face in a couple of months' time. We'll figure out if that works. Make sure you get yourself signed up to the roadshow, because I think the roadshow is going to be absolutely brilliant. To make sure you find a local one to yourselves. Gents, anything you want to plug, go for it. Anything you want to tell people to go to? Charlie, you go first.
Well, I'll just repeat what I said at the start. Do please come join us on the QBOA user group on Facebook. It's for pro advisors. So, you know, it's really a great place to discuss any of your problems or issues you've got with QuickBooks, ideas you want to throw around, or technology you don't quite understand how to do certain complex things. Come and join us on Facebook.
Definitely. Highly recommend it as well. Johann, anything you want to plug?
Just our weekly Ask the Accountant episode will be out on Monday, live every 8:30 every Monday morning. We've got a fantastic episode coming out on Friday, which was pre-recorded with Andrew, which is part 2 of that conversation. That conversation was that great. We had to stop, have a pint, and come back to it. So yeah, but that's everything from me.
Nice one. Brilliant. All right. Fantastic. Well, thanks again to everybody. Thanks to my 2 panelists as well. And we'll look forward to seeing you bright and early for the next one. Well, it's not bright and early for this one. It's late in the day. But we'll be seeing you for the next one in just over a month's time. So thank you, everybody. And we will play the outro in a few seconds' time. We'll play the outro now. Cheers, everyone. Bye.
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 As an accountant, I've got something to say. I'd like to introduce you to a whole new way to help small business clients. It's easy as 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. QuickBooks Online. Accounting you can customize. Just sit back and relax. It works with over 300 apps. It can sync up with
Client Engager,
PayPal or
NetTracker,
Shopify, and with
Gold Cardless, get paid easily.
With
Cresco,
$1, you'll get paid instantly.
Swoop,
Labs tracks your
funding options.
QuickBooks Online. QuickBooks Online. Can save money and time.
QuickBooks Labs.